of like one-on-one training? Like, it sounds like, because to me, you always hear, when you hear people who had these like major exercises or exercise changes or changes in their diet and stuff like that, they're successful when they're not part of a group. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's like, if you look at somebody who went to, let's say, a yoga class or whatever, or they were attending some group, something like cycling, bicycling all together, it's like those who went to the group compared to those who did it at home by themselves or one-on-one with the trainer are more successful. Like, would you say that it's because, like, in order to be truly successful, you need to have that targeted, like, work one-on-one with a trainer who can look at you and just, like you said, isolate those certain things, as opposed to working out with a group and everybody's having to do the same thing?
Right. I've asked people this, and I don't even have to ask. A lot of, like, when I worked for the company I worked for recently, the gym member would say, yeah, I like taking classes better because I'm self-conscious of being upstairs with all the weights. I don't know what to do. And so they're shy away from that and do the classes and not realize, yeah, you got Group X instructors who actually can, like, go to you and say, hey, do it this way. But there's so much they can do if you need more than that. Unless you're actually already fit, your foundation is strong, then you don't need a personal trainer. You can stick with that. But the group instructor is not going to sit there and isolate. You got to work on your lower back. I understand why it's, burning, because then the instructor is going to neglect the whole entire class. There's about 20 people in a class. They can't keep coming to that one person. Right. Unless it's a small group of people where the instructor can actually do that. And that's how that's why I always stick to one-on-one, because I can't stand that. I don't like it. Like, I train at least 2 people at a time. I had trained a mother and a daughter recently. We haven't trained for a month because of the holidays. Usually for personal trainers, the holidays is a slow season for us. So I was able to keep going with back and forth with them. They had a lot of space in their home. So I would train the mother. The mother had the most issues. And I would go to the mother, and then I'll turn around and ask the daughter, and I'm like, are you good? You good? And I look to make sure she's doing it right. And I'll go back and forth. I'm able to keep my eye on both of them without feeling like I'm overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. So that's why I keep it to at least 1 or 2 people at a time.
Okay.
But you're right on that. It's absolutely right.
Right. So I got like a 2-part question. First, my part A is, what's the benefits or is there a benefit of having your own personal training business as opposed to working for a company? And during this time of, the pandemic and coronavirus, how has that affected or even enhanced the business?
It actually paid off for me, because they say as a trainer, you're not supposed to stay in a gym. You're supposed to be able to just do it on your own eventually. But then you have to ask yourself, so then where am I going to get the clients from? That's so true. I was like stuck at this company for this past July would have made about 7 years being there. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I think 6 years. And I'm like, I want to leave, but I can't. I only have 1 private client I'm only taking members from there because they've sold 4 of their locations out of 9 to Lifetime Fitness. Lifetime Fitness is a high-end upscale spa health club. The health club I worked for was like level-wise right below Equinox. So I was like, I'm taking y'all. Like, I was going to have them transfer me to Whitehall. That's near the Staten Island Ferry. Mm-hmm. And I was going to wait until I was done with school, then quit. I was going to take the clients that I had there and take them to the studio where I would train out on Park Avenue and keep them. So then when the pandemic, right before the pandemic, I said, oh my gosh, how am I going to make more money? I just took most of my clients out and they already paid me. Now I have to worry about getting my money back up with privately. So I said, okay, what am I going to do? Then the shelter in place happened. I said, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I didn't panic. I just knew I was going to be fine. I didn't do taxes yet. So my accountant, my tax guy, he had just got a stroke and he couldn't work. So I had gotten in contact with someone I went to high school with, and he did it with me. And I was able to get money. So it helped me buffer. And I didn't even claim unemployment until April, because I was still fine. I was okay. I was still training people online. And then I realized I'm 35 years old. I'm ready to leave my parents' house. We're having conflicts with each other, arguing and threats of kicking me out. It's time to go, but I don't want to rush it until the time is right specifically. Right. So I'm like, how am I going to make money? And then one of my coworkers, which is my friend now, he said, oh yeah, such and such said to get on Thumbtack. I'm like, Thumbtack? Right. Let me look that up. I actually downloaded the wrong app. There's 2 Thumbtacks. There's Thumbtack Pro for people like me that's serving services, and there's people like yourself. You download the Thumbtack app for yourself. So I downloaded Thumbtack Pro, and it took me a few days to a week or two to finish the entire thing. Because as you saw, it was a lot of stuff that I wrote, because that's a lot of stuff. I had to do the bio, I had to do the questionnaire. I actually did the background check because I wanted clients to feel comfortable with me.
Right.
And then it took me a while. And then when you're in the gym, this goes even outside. It takes about 10 no's to give one yes. So, and that goes with Thumbtack. I was hitting up a lot of people. They would send me leads, and people would actually contact me. And I got people, and then one person lost their job because of the pandemic, so they couldn't train with me. And then I got somebody, and she was weird. She fell off, and I was like, what's going on? And I'm like, all right, let me just be a little bit more patient. Next thing you know, started getting more people. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is working. And if it wasn't for that, I would have been really struggling, because this whole like stimulus check and them not wanting to pay Americans, if it wasn't for me doing for myself, I would have been struggling. And I realized this year had proved to me that I can do it by myself. I don't need a gym at all. I even have a client who I have to post her workouts. I just started training with her. She lives in Brooklyn. She's an actual singer. She's a singer.
Okay.
She's a Jewish singer. I'm actually going to hire her as my vocal coach because I want to get back into it.
Okay.
I lost my train of thought just now, but
it's cool.
Started training with her.
Right.
It'll come back to me. Oh, her followers became my followers. And then now all of a sudden people are DMing me on Instagram. Hey, and it's really weird because a lot of these people don't have profile pictures. Right. They probably don't have pictures posted. So it's like, either I see a mutual and it'll be her, my client's name, and I'm like, all right, you're following her, obviously. But then I'm like, okay, she's probably following her. And sometimes people make their things private where you don't even see who's following who. That's just their settings. Mm-hmm. So then I'll they'll hit me up like today, like yesterday, as a matter of fact, I spoke to a woman and she wants me to train with her and her sister. And we talked about prices, and I offer free online consultations. So we'll talk about prices and location and where we're going to train, the space and everything before we do the consultation, because I realize it's a waste of time to do that. If I can get everything else that's most important out the way, then we'll do the consultation talking about your fitness goals. And if you have questions, you can see me. There's a client that I trained recently. We stopped again for the holidays. She was afraid to train with me for the first time ever. She thought I was crazy. So she had her friend come with her because she thought that I was crazy, even with the consultation. Well, before the consultation, when I did the consultation with her, she started feeling comfortable. I was like, yeah, I'm silly, I'm goofy. Yeah, like she started loving that about me because she really was scared. Right. So that's why I do the consultation, so people can get to know me. I get to see the person because there are weirdos out there. I've actually had to block a one man from there because he was just being too obsessive with me. So it's great to have these consultations because I can see who you are. And unfortunately, with this guy, he didn't do a consultation face to face. He did it over the phone, so I couldn't see his face. That's what made it more weird too. But yeah, the consultations actually works, and it puts me and the client at ease for the future when we train.
Wow.
Interesting.
Why does she think we're crazy?
I don't know. She's never done this before. She's never had a trainer before. Even I think clients are crazy. I'm like, I don't know if I should step into their house. Like, what should I, I think twice about it because I'm like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. So I totally understand. Now we were training in the park. Now she comes to me because I live in a private housing complex, and there's a hallway downstairs, and there's bathrooms and laundry room. I can take her and train. There's not that much foot traffic. There's no one really around. Mm-hmm. And the studio that I would train people in Queens, he's not accepting any more outside trainers because of COVID. So I have to be creative as much as possible. Right. That's what the problem is right now. So
can you
making it work
online? Like, can you do training?
Yeah, I do that as well. Mm-hmm. I have a Zoom client at 5:30 today. Yeah.
Okay. But how does that work though?
Yeah, it's very easy. Sometimes it's kind of hard with the person's angle, but I would just tell the person to turn around in a certain way so I can see if their form is right from the side or the back. Mm-hmm. But it's the same thing as training them one-on-one in person. It's just in video. It's different. Right. It's a little different, but it's still manageable. I just have to learn how to not learn because I know how to do it now. Cue the person right. If I can speak specifically on what I want them to do, they'll get it. And that's something that a lot of trainers don't know how to do. They don't know how to cue the client without messing the client up or confusing them. And my former manager always said, you want to be able to train somebody if they were blind. How would you get them to do something if they couldn't see it? So I do that a lot and it works. Some clients are actually visual learners. So I actually get up and do the movement for them so they can feel more better about how it looks. But for the most part, I will say it and they get it. So it's all about cueing as well. Yeah.
What would you tell, let's say, what would you tell like a 220-pound Black woman that's had 2 children, that's been trying to get the weight off since, the birth of her kids, and she comes to you and says, Miss Brewster, what's up? What can I do? What would be step 1? What would you tell her? What's going on?
I had a similar story to that. It was a woman, she's over 200 pounds, but she was going through a divorce recently. We actually stopped training. She had medical issues that took up her finances, so we had to stop. But she's over 200 pounds. She's short. She's not that short, but she's like average height, like 5'5", 5'4", 5'3" to 5'5". And she had a trainer. I actually took her from another trainer because a lot of trainers are not certified. So I said, why don't you ask her what certification she has? Because she didn't like how the trainer was training with her. Now, the trainer is a herbalist trainer or a person who's an organic, whatever she does. But I said, ask her for certifications. And the trainer couldn't even answer her. I said, well, you're my client now. But she actually got injured from another trainer. That's how I do it. It's business. But she got hurt from another trainer a while ago. Yeah. And she sent me videos of what this trainer was giving her. They were in Planet Fitness. And I'm like, why does he have her doing that? Why is he even showing that on public? I hate when I see trainers who do that. I'm like, before I put anything on social media, I have to make sure the form is right. And even if it's off, I still mention it in my caption. We have to work a little bit more, so the person know that I know that I'm capable of fixing that. But I'm not gonna record you knowing you're doing something really crazy. I mean, she wasn't doing anything crazy, but it's very visible what I was seeing, visual. So we went to Brooklyn Bridge Park and I had her do movements and we couldn't do jumping. I didn't realize that. So I had to do like low impact movements where she's not going like this because the weight is going to her foot and her foot was bothering her. She's a social worker. So there wasn't that much that I could do to like, oh, this is how you got to think. She already was doing it. She already knew how to think and shift everything. She was showing that on social media. I saw how she was posting on Instagram. She'll post positive affirmations and stuff like that. She was ready. So all we had to do was she actually hired a nutritionist. So that made my life easier. But she also actually asked me certain advice things with her nutritionist, because the nutritionist was trying to like steal her from me. She was like, oh, you should just do low impact or do yoga. I'm like, because she's a yoga instructor too. I'm like, that's BS. Everyone needs functional training. Everybody needs movement. Yes, we all can do yoga, but why would you tell her that? So then I told her, I was like, I give her different ideas of what she could eat. I was doing that at one point, and then we only trained like twice, and then we stopped. And she had a medical issue she had to take care of, and we never was able to finish. But like, I usually talk about nutrition first. I also want to get life coach certification, because anything in life, whatever you want to do is how you think. If you can't shift how you think, you can't change what you want to change in life. So I usually realize that with like clients, like, oh, I want to eat like this and I love eating like that. I'm like, but you have to take that out. Oh my God. And they start getting attitude. I'm like, but that's what it is. It's because their mind. And I just realized something, maybe on Instagram, I saw it. It was a caption. It was probably from Dr. Sebi or Black Vegan Shop or whatever. And it said, people are addicted to food like they're addicted to drugs. That's why it's so hard for them to change. Because it's psychology too, how they put the packages together in the grocery store. They put it in colors in certain fonts to grab your attention. And if you're not comprehensive on that, you'll just pick it up and say, oh, I want it. Or some clients will think it's healthy and they don't read the ingredients. And then it's only 130 calories. And I'm like, well, just because it's 130 calories don't mean it's not high in fat, sugar, and carbs. So that I also really, really ingrained that in their minds. And some clients fall off because they didn't have what it takes. And I'm like, well, it takes more than you just say, I want to do it. You got to be mindset ready. If you're not mindset ready, it's not going to work.
What do you say to someone, I would say maybe like me, who's addicted to sugar? Because sugar is my issue. Like, I am a sugar ant. As my husband calls me sometimes, he calls me sugar ant. Because I love sugar. And those chocolates, candies, anything sweet, I eat it. Though I love but I usually just do yoga. Between yoga and dance, that's just about all the exercise I do. My husband and I were running at one point, and we're going to get back to doing that. But like, we don't do, we don't really make exercise the center of everything. And so I feel like I'm not so sure we have that whole, well, specifically me, I don't have the whole idea of wellness. Just as long as I feel good, I don't really care. Like, I will eat a pizza and I won't care. Like, if I feel good about myself, if I wake up, I have the energy, I'm happy, I don't really care about that stuff. But like, should I? Should I care about
Yeah. Just because you don't feel it now don't mean you're going to feel it later. But there's something that you said and pointed out to me. I want to say it now. You said the running. People like to do running. They like to do marathons, and they don't realize there's a training technique to running. Some people think by running that's training. No, you got to keep your foundation strong, your joints strong, because if you start running, I hear clients all the time, well, my hip is hurting, this is hurting, my ankle, this is hurting. When I start running, I'm like, well, you didn't prepare yourself the right way. And that's where injury comes into play too. It could be your hip, your lower back, your knee, your ankle, the little muscles surrounding your ankle, your shin muscles, all of that. So if you ever felt something uncomfortable or not normal when you're running, that means you didn't prepare yourself right. So just to keep that in mind. But the sugar, I'm a sugar fiend. But what I do is I go to Vitamin Shop and I order or go to the store and I order, I'm a chocolate fiend. So I'm going to show you my chocolate, what I usually eat every day. And when I went to Vitamin Shop, she gave me the wrong one. But this one is woman owned, by the way, from Miami, Florida. And it's called Eat Me Guilt Free, right? It's this chocolate. They come in sprinkles. They come in this is brownie. It comes in with peanut butter, but the peanut butter chocolate to me is the best. So this only has, I check everything. This only has a total of 6 grams of fat and 7 grams of carbs.
Wow,
and it tastes really good. The sugars is only 4 grams. The ingredients is not all that safe to me because I like to eat very clean, but it's okay still. It has wheat protein isolate, egg whites, coconut palm, sodium, I can't see this, something sugar, sodium, caseinate, rice flour, cocoa powder, potato starch, some other stuff. Yeah, I can't really read it. I see it, sodium bicarbonate. And some of the stuff that's in here, I don't like it, but at the end of the day, if the majority of it is clean, I'm going to eat it.
Okay.
So I will go to even when you go to Vitamin Shop, just because it's sweet, don't pick it up and buy it. Look at how much sugar it has in it. Look at what the ingredients is in it, because a lot of Black women don't know that, one, soy causes fibroids.